Gambians will not allow President Barrow become a tyrant, Samba said to the Standard newspaper. Siraba reports.
Gambians will not allow Barrow to become a tyrant. A social and political commentator, Samba has issued a strong warning to President Adama Barrow that the Gambian people will not allow him to be a tyrant like Jammeh, even if he tries. Responding to the president's threat against activist Madi, the US-based Gambian said to President Adama Barrow, "You must understand that your attempt to emulate Jammeh and his tyranny will never be allowed. Your supporters will continue to have people whisper in your ears that you need to be more assertive, but you must understand that those people are more interested in the access of halves of power than your legacy." Lest we forget, the same crowd that uploaded your threats against Madi was the same one that only uploaded Jammeh's 2012 threats to execute death row inmates, but went on to offer him a religious cover in trying to justify his sinful act of murdering 9 people. Today, Jammeh is in exile and they have found a new patron in you to cheer, Jaw said. To the Gambian people, show me a thin-skinned leader and I will show you a tyrant. And this is what President Barrow has exhibited each time valid criticism are made about him and his government. He stressed. He further congratulated the new cabinet and advised them to do the best interest of Gambians. The Gambia, if you are unable to withstand criticism from the government, please do the reasonable thing and resign now. Your position is not a voluntary one. You have handsomely voted in and you are expected to do good. Reporting for Active TV News, I am Siraba.
You see, not all tyrants woke up and became a tyrant overnight, immediately. It is a process. And I saw Usain Umenga Road there was something, and it jogged my mind back. You know when Barrow threatened when they crossed the line? If they crossed the line, that was his language. He's always been using this subtle language. As we speak today, I woke up to Pa Usman Juf complaining that the State House is threatening to revoke their accreditation to cover the State House because they took a picture of the president sleeping. This is their problem. The guy who sleeps everywhere, a journalist took his picture, they publish it, now the State House has a problem. Why are you taking them? So they are now censoring people, telling them when to take a picture, what picture they should take. Pretty much is when you write article about us, run it by us, we will check whether it is fit to be published or not. Listen, the Gambia has a very enabling environment for dictatorship. You can become a dictator anytime in that country. It's very easy because we have a culture of sycophancy. Jayate, you are the greatest. Why should you allow this? Jammeh, this would have never happened. That's what they've been telling this guy. And Barrow has demonstratively shown that he has a very thin skin. This is why, where were you? To, what's his name? Dr. Sise.
Dr. Sise, yeah.
Because the guy had the audacity to question him. And he used the bully pulpit. They're talking about bully pulpit. The president's bully pulpit is a billion times bigger than Madi's.
It's the bully pulpit. It's
okay.
the one.
Yeah. Madi does not have a bully pulpit. And if, in fact, I have gone as far as saying that if all the government officials were as committed to Gambia as Madi, we would have a better Gambia.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that just because here, I believe that 100%. But here is a president who used his platform when all the media houses were there, attacked Dr. Sise, and what did we see? Dr. Sise questioned at the police because he wrote an article talking about even the presence of ECOWAS does not guarantee the sovereignty of the stability of this country. So the police wanted to question him. We've seen Madi Jobarteh dragged to court to the police to answer to something that he wrote. You see, Musa, when Jammeh came to power, his press conference, that was the reason why I, in fact, looked for a media press card. He had his press conference, and the first people he attacked, go back and check the records. Point newspaper, Data Hydra was there. You know why? Because Data Hydra and The Point wrote an editorial suggesting that due to the many sanctions economic sanctions against the junta, the tyranny, that they may eventually have a problem of paying salaries. Jammeh went on a tirade, attacked him like there is no end of this world. And then even started saying to the journalists, I am warning you that we are not going to tolerate anybody writing false news about us. You can do your job, we are not going to interfere, but I am warning you. I remember going to Babukar Gay. He was my boss then, New Citizen, Ibrahim Asila and I. And I'm like, Babukar, why do you guys sit there and allow this guy to threaten you like that? And Babukar didn't have an answer for me. He just looked at me and didn't say anything. I said, you know what? I really need a press card. Can you make sure that you make me one? Because I wanted to have an opportunity to go to these press conferences. That's how we started with Jammeh, the threatening. I remember when we used to have Wahante Digate Yalata on Radio 1 FM, George Christensen. Some of us used to call. That was when the coup started and all that stuff. You know what they did? They came and said now they wanted people, before they could say anything, to produce their IDs. That was their threat. To people, they were, no, like a security. They were not killing people then. They had not started. So to people like me, they know full change. So to me, like I said, I am not trusting anybody with my liberties again in this country, in this world. I don't care who you are. Whether you are. Let me continue.
I want Alaji to come, but there are some parallels that you're drawing that I don't think it's. I have problems with it.
No, I don't mind your problems with it though.
I write Alaji to.
No, man, I don't mind your problems. Your problems with my parallels, I don't have a problem with that. No, it's not my problem. Those are the list of those are my parallels. Because I've lived it, I have seen it. Listen, when it, if it walks like a dog or quacks like a dog or works like a dog, it's a dog. That's what I call it. The president has shown that he has a very thin skin. We've seen it with Triya Jotna and his determination to send these people to jail, to teach them a lesson. We've seen it with Alaji Conte, because he believed that the guy insulted his mother. What did he do? All of a sudden, the guy's accounts were frozen. We have seen it with Yakuba Jaite. He said that Yakuba Jaite insulted him. He said that Molly Murphy gonna say they or what, even though people are still looking for that team, nobody has seen it. What did he do? He said, I am now revoking my nomination of her as a member of the National Assembly. Barrow controls the army. Barrow controls the police. Barrow controls all the institutions in that country without checks. So if the president can stand and talk about Madi, Jobarteh, this new Konago, and this is why people are saying that he did not threaten. When he said, my government is going to look into this, we are not going to allow this guy to do this. What is he saying? What is he going to do? Close Madi's mouth? Stop him from going to the medium? What powers does he have to do that? The only powers that the government have is to get rid of Madi somehow. Come up with Trump charges and put him in jail. You see what he's talking about? And is it coincidental that all of a sudden, on the 25th of April, Ida Drame, Musa Drame's lawyer, wrote a letter to Madi, this is cease and desist, and apologize or you'll go to court. On the 26th of April, Ibrahim Sankara, the government spokesman, went on, what's the name of the show? Coffee Time with Peter Gomez.
Coffee Time with.
In the guise of I'm responding to Madi because he called me a liar. You said that 69 million was that account wasn't open during Barrow's time. It was open during Jammeh's time, and it turned out that's not true. So what that is a lie, isn't it? You attacked him, question whether he fought during Jammeh, where was he, why did he protest, and then less than a week later, Naim Billami, the big kahuna, President Adam Barrow with his Haftar, and his group of people who clapped for Jammeh when he threatened to kill 9 prisoners, all the death row prisoners, clapping for him, went after Madi and said, my government is not going to allow this guy to put this country on fire. I am putting them on notice. We have to put this, I'm not going to allow this. People are saying, Tangoma, Tangoma ni wehuma ni kani wai wehna ni jahatu and all that nonsense. To me, Musa, whether you have a problem with my parallels or not, the guy to me has shown every step of the way.
I do not have a problem with your narration. What I have a problem with, I don't have a problem with your narration. What I have a problem with is the false equivalency.
And I've had that rationalization, like we all have rights, and so the president has the same rights that every other citizen has. But the president is the president, I mean, elected by citizens. And the president's oath of office is very clear to uphold and defend the Constitution, in which the rights of citizens are there to call for a protest, to go to court, to express their opinions, and so on and so forth, which the president can respond to, in many ways, but not in all ways, as the president did. That is to identify a particular citizen for calling for what is legal and democratic and peaceful and constitutional, and to equate that with violence, with setting the country on fire. And given the role, the position of a president, of a leader, that kind of a call would tantamount to actually inciting violence against that citizen. And so from a legal or constitutional point of view, the president has gone against his own oath of office, by claiming or calling, describing a citizen as wanting to set the country on fire simply because of the opinion of that a citizen that is expressed, because the president's response tantamount to effectively silencing that citizen, from holding him to account, which is a right and a duty that every citizen has. All right. So I wouldn't mind if the president had said he disagrees with me, people should not come out on the streets. That is a foolish comment by Mr. Madi Jobarteh. But to say that Madi Jobarteh's comment or any citizen's comment to call for people to come out on the streets tantamount to burning down the country, has gone against the very grain of the right to freedom of expression, the right to political participation, and the duty of citizens to hold the state to account, because it means the president is effectively, to me, raising himself beyond and above scrutiny, public scrutiny, and which essentially means the president doesn't want to be checked. And for me, an unchecked power is what is the definition of dictatorship, or when citizens want to check power, they are subject to reprisal because they want to subject the citizens to a government or an elected or appointed public official to hold accountable. That's a whole regional and international laws, instruments, and institutions, purposely, that is, citizens exercising their fundamental rights only for the government to respond in a way that inflicts harm on the citizen. Even at the African level, we have an African special procedure about reprisals in Africa. So for me, what I face from the president's comment is a reprisal. And it is because we are here today. But when you look at the history, our experience some 5 or so years ago, I should have been arrested by now. I should have disappeared by now. If the president could be so uncomfortable that he would say this in a public platform. In the past, he wouldn't even have to say it in the public platform. I would have been picked up at midnight. I would have disappeared by now. My family and all of you would have been running some alerts, some campaigns. Where is Madi Jobarteh? Produce Madi Jobarteh. So that is what the president did. So for me, he has really harmed democracy, good governance, the sovereignty of this country as a sovereignty that resides in the people, that government derives its legitimacy and authority from the people, yet the president raising himself above public scrutiny. So for me, that statement is a very serious statement that violates the Constitution.